in all the years that I have done trade show on the floor interviews, the number of quote unquote PR professionals that we would meet in booths who would walk on and be great in that initial conversation. As soon as the red light goes on and the videographer's like, go, I introduce them and they just, if you're listening, not watching, I froze because it happens way more than it should.
It's weird. What do I do with my arms? I've never thought about that before. Is it this? Or, if I may, this? Maybe I should just hold something. Okay, yeah, this feels more natural. Is that right? Yeah.
On this episode of ResiWeek, we talk Google's Thread streamer, being a camera-ready team, and the CEDIA keynote. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek. This is ResiWeek, episode 444. It's part psychology. Welcome to this episode of ResiWeek. This is your weekly roundup of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv. And this week, I'm pleased to be joined by three of my good friends. First, we have Mr. Michael Short. He's the Senior Director of Marketing for Residential over at Crestron. How you doing, Michael?
Doing great. Thanks, mate. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Then we have Aaron Rozanski. He's the Director of Distribution Markets over at Vanco. How you doing, Aaron?
Doing well, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And last but certainly not least, we've got my favorite runner, Mr. Henry Clifford. He's the president of Livewire and the co-founder of Parasol. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you, Matt. Great to be with you.
Thank you all for being here. All right, gentlemen, we are going to kick off this story with an article that comes to us from The Verge, why Google decided it's time to move on from the Chromecast. We started to cover this a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but now that there has been a wonderful interview with some people over at Google, we're hitting on it again for a couple of reasons. One, mainly we got more information about it. So Michael, let me start with you on this. And again, go read through the article. It covers all of the details on kind of why they got out of the dongle game, where Google's head is at with their approach to this, and essentially going after the NVIDIA Shield. Michael, when you see this and looking at our market, both entry level, mid, high end, does this device really have any chance of being relevant to us in our channel?
I think that it's going to be relevant if consumers decide they want to use this instead of Roku or Apple TV or another device. So it'll be relevant if the customer decides they want this. I don't, to be brutally honest, I don't have a huge opinion on this. It's an interesting product, I think, from a entry level DIY standpoint. It fits. It will have its place. Does it affect us? No. If someone wants to use it, great. It really doesn't do much for me, and I know that's probably a bit boring for the conversation. I think one of the big things they speak about is it's bringing in Matter and Thread, and it's going to have smart home elements that can come on screen and control. It's all really nice. I just don't see how it's going to majorly change things for the channel. It'll be another device that we'll just potentially work with.
I'm okay with that answer, man. That's a valid point. Aaron, I'm really glad that Michael brought up Thread and Matter, because that's, although that's well below the fold of the article, I think that is kind of one of the kicking and kind of impressive parts of this, is that they're positioning this to be a hub for Thread and Matter. Again, does that give it the relevancy that we're kind of hoping it could have? Or again, is that just, cool, we're happy for you?
Yeah, I kind of echo Michael a bit. I think it's kind of the same. It's cool, and we'll kind of see how it plays out. I mean, really the appetite from the consumers are really going to obviously dictate that. With these added features are something that's going to be could potentially have some impact with the amount that Google owns the market share. But really, it's still kind of too early to see where it's going to take, if it's really going to have a huge impact in our customer base, or are they going to have an appetite for a different type of product with kind of a mid-market features and cost conscious solution base that those end users are looking for. So really, it's going to, I mean, some time's going to tell, if this is really going to impact. But right now, I mean, same with Michael. I think it's a little too early, and is it really going to have a great impact? I don't think so. So
I'm good with that too. All right, Henry, kind of wrap this one up for me. Again, I'm not super negative on the product per se. I just don't see a big fit for it. I see it being that, add on into somebody's room who maybe doesn't have either a smart TV, if that's a thing these days, not having one, or they just like that experience over, the native apps on the smart TV. But then it raises the question of, it's another product where we're moving the source from distribution to in the room, local sources. It gets us back into that, how are we moving audio around in the eARC conversation and all of those other things. Is this something that we're going to just kind of throw into those auxiliary rooms and say, have fun? Or do we look at ways we can integrate, again, all of those local sources back?
That's a great question. I feel like at the end of the day, we're in the business of simplicity. We're in the business of saving our customers time. And I think if there's anything that moves the ball further towards the goal of cleaning up what's an incredibly frustrating, fragmented user experience. I mean, I can't even imagine trying to get my music and somebody saying, well, that song's only available on this service. It's a nightmare right now. So I think there's fertile ground to be plowed. I mean, even in the best of time, like take a streamer that we're all happy with, like the Apple TV, or somewhat happy with, it's still a nightmare hopping around. So if Google comes in and brings a box that makes it easier, people are going to flock to that. Like that is what you see time and time again, is people will flock to slightly much lower fidelity experiences that are simpler and easier to use. So Google's a data company. Google's interested in understanding user behavior. So if they don't get it right on this one, they will try again, as long as it's a priority for them. I also feel like this is the first whiff I'm now seeing of AI actually trying to do something in this kind of, at Netflix, they said they have 8-foot guy and 6-foot guy and sort of 8-inch. So in this family room experience, AI now starting to do something. I don't know what the something is, but if they're paying attention, I would see it like, it's sort of like us arguing about the evil eye of Sauron, right? Like, what do you think of the eye? I don't know. But the eye's there. So if it's a priority for them, they're going to keep at it, and they're going to throw dollars and smart people at it. But right now, I think it's a distraction, but the eye is there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Aaron, I can't get over the eARC side of it, because I know that's where this is going to end up, of somebody throwing it on a display and then having it be less reliable than expected. And then they're going to blame the integrator and the system versus the, what is this, $99 or $5,000 Canadian? Where do we go from there?
Yeah, I mean, the eARC is definitely become more and more relevant, and the conversations you're hearing more about. More products are can support eARC, more formats available, and just like eARC, it has its challenges at times, right? Installers, we hear all the time through tech support of ARC problems. Troubleshooting eARC now is part of that conversation, and to bring solutions out to the market is extremely important. I mean, we'll be showcasing a phenomenal solution piece, an eARC extender at CEDIA here in a couple of weeks. Brand new product that allows the integrator some flexibility, a backup plan when eARC or ARC is having issues, whether through HDMI or optical. We have a solution that's going to give them both paths way to a solution and a fix for those situations. Smart TVs are obviously the forefront and being sold daily out there, and how to troubleshoot and provide that consumer, that end user, a quality audio experience are going to be products like the one we'll be showing here in a couple of weeks. So really excited to show that product. Please, come check out at the booth. But eARC is here. More and more are going to become available, and products need to be able to support that solution. And so we're excited. We're going to continue to bring out some of those solution-based products to give the tools needed for the installers out in the field.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, gentlemen, let's change topics for a second. This comes to us from Residential Systems, preparing your team for on-camera success. This is a great article from our good friend of the show, Katie McGregor Bennett, essentially giving you some key, and I specify key points in getting people on your team, again, whether you're a manufacturer, a integrator, or whatever, getting your team members ready to do video, honestly, and be able to get their points across properly. Go read through the article. It is fantastic. I will say, present company completely excluded. In all the years that I have done trade show on the floor interviews, the number of quote unquote PR professionals that we would meet in booths, stop laughing, Michael, who would walk on and be great in that initial conversation. And then, as Katie points out, as soon as the red light goes on and the videographer's like, go, I introduce them and they just, if you're listening, not watching, I froze, because it happens way more than it should. Aaron, when you read through this, how do you go about, ensuring that, again, we have CEDIA coming up. You're a manufacturer. Michael's a manufacturer. You guys will have people at your booth who want to interview yourselves, other people at the booth, et cetera. How do you go about, training your people up so that they're ready for those interviews, honestly, whether on camera or just, getting asked questions by attendees?
Yeah, no, great question. Great article for people that haven't read it. Please do so, especially with CEDIA coming up. Preparation's is big. I mean, having a plan, talking about whether it's a product or a category, a technology, just doing your research, building out a script, and putting the right people in place. You got your audio file, make sure they're talking about your audio product, right? Somebody talking about video distribution, somebody that is working with that type of product day in and day out. They're comfortable talking about it. You don't want to sound authentic. You want to be authentic when you're in front of that video. You want to be a real person. They don't want to see a robot talking about the product and pointing and doing this very robotic. They want an authentic person being passionate when they're talking about the solution or whatever the video is about. Just preparation is the big thing, from the script to putting the right person in place, and just be real in front of the camera. That's one of the bigger things is just be yourself, be authentic, and the sale will come through if you're prepared.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, Henry. Obviously, well, you're kind of a manufacturer, sort of, or a provider with Paracel, but I want to focus on the Livewire side for a second. When you're doing, say, either a training piece, a marketing piece in the office, right, and you're working with your staff, I would assume it kind of follows under the same thing that Aaron just went over. But what about when you're trying to get like a video testimonial from a customer? How do you go about utilizing that and acquiring that properly so that it's actually engaging in something that you want to use, opposed to we're just going to take the text of that and throw the text on the website?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like this whole deal is part psychology, operant conditioning a little bit, right? Like, so we have an amazing marketing marketing guru, and one of the things I watch him do is he'll sort of engage in conversation, just a little warm chatter. It's almost like when the surgeon comes in, it's like, okay, now we're gonna talk about the leg, and which leg is it again? Okay, we're going to be chopping this leg, just get them kind of warmed up. And then all of a sudden it's just behind the scenes. Oh, don't worry about that. That's just that little red light. And that's how I'll watch him kind of get, because to your point, Matt, very few folks are really dialed in towards extemporaneous delivery, right? It's the exception, not the rule. And I see the same thing, the sort of deer in the headlights, and it's somebody who will be great with you conversationally. And to your point, you turn a light on and then they're done for. The other piece I'm watching him do as well is he's using this format. So this session right now is using a tool called Riverside. So we're using that same tool actually to engage with customers or our own employees. Well, everybody since the pandemic has been on Zoom calls, and we're all sort of conditioned for that experience now. So we've all been mini broadcasters since then, and so he's using that sort of Zoom format to immediately put the person at ease. So I thought the article was great. And I pulled a lot of useful information about it, and I hope everybody reads it. But that's how we do it in house, and we try to publish and shoot all our video content once a month for the entire month, just so we're not distracting schedules. But just like everybody else, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Michael, wrap this one up for us before we move on. Is there anything else that we've overlooked when it comes to prepping and delivering a quality interview or a quality testimonial for somebody?
Look, I mean, I'm going to be a bit harsh and maybe controversial here, but I think none of us in this industry, apart from you, are maybe made for TV and for interviews, and it's nothing that is going to be natural to everybody. So I would say, don't be afraid to let people say no. I've seen it all the time. We do it ourselves. We film at CEDIA. We do in-house videos. We've got a live stream coming out on August the 28th on YouTube for launching some new stuff in Crestron Home. And I had to make some decisions with regards to who was going to be on that recording. And the truth is, some people are better than others. And that's okay, because most of the time those other people are quite happy not to be shoved with a camera in front of their face. So I think first thing for me is, as manufacturers and as people in the industry, we shouldn't expect everybody to feel comfortable and want to do that. And it shouldn't be expected. And don't be afraid to say that it's not your gig, because, there's skill sets all over the charts with regards to what people can do. For me, I still get very nervous before I do these interviews. I still get nervous before I get on stage. I was in the studio last week recording, and it took us about 6 hours to get through an entire recording session. And we had auto cue, and I was reading a script that I had written, and it still took that amount of time to get it right and to do takes. So I think that it's just about preparation, understanding that nerves are totally fine and it's part of the gig, but also, just prep, do your reading, have clarity, get the key messages there, and just remember as well your body language. Nobody talks in real life sat there like this. Be comfortable and try and feel a bit more natural and use your body. But if you don't enjoy it, I think in our industry you don't have to do it. Put the people up there who are happy to do it, and it's going to make for a better watching experience for everybody, in my book.
The list of people I have who should not ever do video is longer than it should be. The only thing I'll add to that, again, just to continue the controversial aspect of it is just because you're the boss, there are many times you should not be on camera.
100%
Take
agree.
that as far as you want to take
100%.
it. But good Lord, we've interviewed some CEOs who should never be near a camera. All right. And don't go looking for those. You won't find them. We're going to wrap this up with an article from Residential Tech Today. Award-winning director Barry Sonnenfeld is going to deliver the CEDIA keynote at Expo in Denver next month. It is, I believe, Thursday night. I believe. I'm looking. I can't see it. You'll find it in your show guide, all that jazz. Henry, and again, just a short take. Are you excited about the keynote? Do you ever go to the keynote? Do you care?
He's a pretty big name. So, I mean, he's a household name, Barry Sonnenfeld. So clearly people who've walked the earth. Barry's 71 years old. He's made a lot of killer movies. He's got some wisdom to share. And to some extent, we are in the entertainment business. So I don't know what he's going to have to say that might be relevant or a nugget for our industry, but I am just a big fan of talking to people who have tonned it in life. And I have to believe Barry maybe has some things to share. But I'm not looking to tactically connect the dots between Barry and what does it mean for the future of the smart home industry. I'm just going to go sit there, have a good time, maybe buttonhole him afterwards and ask him a nerdy question or two.
I love it. Michael, kind of same question to you. Are you excited to this? Do you get out of the booth in time to go see this if you wanted to?
No, usually not. But potentially this year, like Henry said, I don't think that he's going to add anything from a technology standpoint that we as an industry aren't already on top of. But, he's made some amazing films, and I think it could be a really interesting keynote. And it's actually great to see CEDIA actually investing in really interesting characters to support that. But look, we know that he's going to talk about the importance of really great technology so that when you're watching fantastic content that has been filmed with the highest level of video and audio, that watching that within the best environment or with the best endpoints or with the best way to transfer that content to those endpoints, such as, NVX. I'm just giving a bit of a Crestron nod there, but it is, if you don't have the best way to distribute that content to the amazing endpoints and you can't distribute that audio, then everything falls down. So I think that if it encourages us as an industry to focus on that aspect of entertainment everywhere, then it should be a fun watch. And I think he'll have some really interesting things to say. So yeah, hopefully this year.
All right, Aaron, wrap this up for us. His love of home theater, is that relevant to our channel? Will that, come across?
I hope so, just based on his obviously his many years of experience and where his background is at. His love of home theater, where we live in the CI world, talking about what goes into producing these films, directing these films, the quality that they use, and his passion when he goes home and wants to watch films and his content, hopefully can, our customers, our installers can take some of those tidbits away of the quality that they should be showcasing to the end users, and talking about the passion that goes into these producers and filmmakers, that to really experience the full content and experience of what goes into them, needs to go into the equipment as well. So to experience it at its fullest. So, what you can get from your custom installer based on what you get at a retail store, is going to be completely different and should be worth listening to. So it's exciting that CEDIA is bringing somebody that's got a ton of experience, a lot of good insight into passion that he's been working on for many years. I think a lot of people can get a lot of good information from such a well versed individual.
That's a great point. All right, gentlemen, we are going to wrap it up there. Henry, thank you so much for joining us. If people want to connect with you, learn more about Livewire or Paracel, where can they do that?
Online, all the socials, it's the same thing at Get Livewire. And also a little plug, I'll be on a panel on Wednesday morning called Letting Go to Grow at CEDIA at the Mile High Ballroom. So come check it out. And it's gonna be crazy. A little warm up for Barry. We've talked about it. There'll be some special things that we'll get to.
Fantastic. I love it. Aaron, thank you for joining us. If people want to connect with you, learn more about Vanco, where can they do that?
Yeah, so online, vanco1.com. We're on all the social media sites as well. And then also at CEDIA, we'll have our booth number 1523, showcasing a lot of new products. The whole team will be out there, president, our engineers, marketing team. Love to show you all the cool new stuff that we'll be releasing here in the next few months and beyond. But come check us out, booth 1523.
Very nice. All right, Mr. Short, if people want to connect with you, learn more about Crestron, visit you on the show floor, where can they do that?
So head over to Crestron.com, and if you're coming to CEDIA booth 1901, we have a massive show this year, a ton of new stuff, loads of new features, good happy hour. If you want to DJ, we've even got a bring your own experience, and you can come and DJ for us in the booth. So yeah, booth 1901, lots going on. Looking forward to it.
That sounds so dangerous, and I love it. All right. Thank you again for joining us. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me at Matt D. Scott on Twitter, X, and most other social platforms. But more importantly, please visit AVNation.tv, where you'll find this show as well as a wide variety of other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you check them out as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek,
the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.